All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday 10X interview. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock for over 15 years, I have been interviewing what I call players, people that are like in the game. Today, we have a player coach, someone that is a speaker, that is a coach, but also a player, and also it just so happens, I can't take credit for this, but we have a realtor. So we have a top producing badass realtor. I'm going to ask her some questions so we get to know her better. But to me, she was referred by Shayla Gifford. And, when Shayla says, Dave, I have someone you need to interview, like, I don't need to know anything more than that. Shayla has so much credibility in the mortgage industry. She has so much credibility on this stage. We have who Shayla Gifford texted me, I don't know, has it been about a month, since we scheduled this, Carrie? A little over
Yeah,
a
I
month
think
ago?
so. Yep.
Yeah. Well, by the way, what did she say about me in our community of mortgage coach? Because you just said
Oh
yes.
my gosh. She said that you guys have tremendous impact on homeownership and that you're just a complete, I think the word she used was badass,
Ooh,
and
I
have
like that.
changed so many lives. And so she was like, you are just going to absolutely love being part of his community and getting to know the people who are players in his world. So here I am.
There you go. Well, I love that. Well, I'm excited to meet you, and I'm sure we're going to be on a lot of stages together going forward. I love that word badass. In fact, I just this year I got a badass calendar. I don't know if you can see
Is
that.
that from Shayla?
No, but I got a badass button.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, anyways, little segue, and here's my message as I frame this for everyone. And we couldn't have timed this better, but last Monday, being a coach and advisor in both mortgage and real estate mattered. And mortgage coach in the community that we've built is mortgage professionals that realize that, what, if I want to win going forward in mortgage, I need to be a great coach and advisor to consumers. But as of Friday, with NAR announcing, the settlement that they did, it's game time in real estate. I think real estate agents know with clarity that there's an advice revolution going on. And if buyer agents want to be able to communicate the value they bring and get paid to deliver a premium and valuable service, they need to be badass advisors. So I see you nodding your head, so I know you agree, but I figured you would. So guys, this is going to be a call where I'm going to try to make it something that you're going to want to bring realtors to. So, it's going to be on YouTube by the end of the day. And we want this to be something that's going to make you smarter, better, to win in this new reality that we're moving into. But we also want to make it something that gives you a competitive advantage and that you can watch with your real estate agents. So Keri Shull, welcome to the stage. Guys, let's use those little reactions. Give her a little standing applause or use whatever reaction you want. First of all, tell us a little bit about your role in real estate industry right now and a little bit about your backstory.
Sure. I've been in the business for 20 years, so I'll go ahead and date myself. I was fortunate enough to find real estate right out of Penn State. Nittany Lion. I started my career selling new homes and actually sold condo buildings for developers all over DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And in 2008, perfect timing, I transitioned into the resale side of the business. And just quickly about my emotional state back then, I felt really isolated and I grew up moving a lot. And so the feeling of not being in the right rooms, not having the right coaching and advice was something that drove me to start attending real estate events. And that the first event I attended changed my life because I had the experience of being around other team leaders. And they were inspirational and social proof for me that it was possible. And so if we fast forward, I have 92 agents on my team today. So we have a large team in the DMV. That's again, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I've coached real estate team leaders around the country. And approximately a year ago, I joined EXP and have grown my network there and have an organization with between my husband and I, close to 400 people in our group. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, so that's where I am today.
Love that. And I know also when Shayla introduced me, she said that you were in the core. And when she was in the core, you know, she was the number one loan officer and you were the number one realtor
Yes,
in the core. So you both had that experience together, which is, you know, pretty impressive.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're responsible, you know, because I know you're a servant leader. Just, you know, I have done a little bit of research on you, and you can just tell when someone really takes responsibility for the success of others around them. So you're responsible, directly responsible for really, you know, 500, you know, plus agents. And then you are on a lot of stages. So you're, you know, creating a lot of influence and inspiration. You know, how many stages a year are you on? And, you know, what do you think the total number of agents that you have influence over? What is just a guess on that?
I would imagine it's thousands of agents at this point. I try and I have 4 children under 8, so I try and limit
Wow.
how often I travel, but I love speaking and I really love learning from other industry professionals, whether it's agents, lenders, like we can all collaborate and learn so much from each other. And so I have a podcast,
What's your podcast called?
Hyper Fast Agent.
Hyper fast agent. Well, I'm
Want to grow hyper
ADD
fast,
and
right?
yeah, like love that. Love that. So make sure you follow her podcast. We'll put a link down below so you guys can check it out. You know, you came up with the headline. Like I texted you yesterday. I'm like, hey, what should we talk about? And we came up with how to win in real estate post NAR settlement. So I guess where's your head at? You know, because I've interviewed a number of realtors already. I'm going to interview realtors for the weeks ahead, and I'm kind of finding that everybody's kind of in a different place. You know,
Yeah.
where are you at?
So for me personally, I don't feel like there's cause for panic. I think that the problem is when you don't have a systematic, value driven approach in your business. So there's a lot of agents out there that are winging it. They're not asking, um, they're not asking buyers what is important to them and solving problems in a sequential way. So what I mean by that is when I have trained agents for years, it's not like I train them to have a pad of paper and sit down and wing it. I approach it by saying, hey, first we're going to look at the needs of a buyer. Then we're going to explain the process and we're going to help them get all of their questions answered. And in that process, we integrate our lender into that conversation every single time so that we have the right data-driven information to move to the next step of our process. And I'm explaining this because I think it's very, very important as it pertains to the settlement. So I'll give you my thoughts on that in a minute. But after we go through our buyer process, we very simply ask if the buyer's comfortable with loyalty to us, if they feel like we're the right person to support them. And I think the ability to ask that question is the hinge of all of this not being so scary for agents, because some of them haven't been trained to handle it that way. And if you're just hoping the seller is going to pay the commission, I can see why that's so scary. But for my team, we have not had the process handled that way for the last 10 years. So as an example, if we charge 3% and the seller is paying 2.5%, we tell the buyer up front, listen, if there's a deficit in our commission, we're going to have that conversation before you make an offer. So you have all the facts and we can walk through the different solutions that are there to solve for that deficit, but we're always going to share that with you so you can make an educated decision. And if they say, well, you know, we only want to look at houses where the seller's covering that, we help them understand how to process the difference if they want us to go door knock. If they want us to procure properties that are off market, often the seller is not considering paying commission. So all we have to do at that time is structure it into the agreement, which is very simple. So I think that when we look at the settlement, and then I'll share with you phase 3 of our our process in a moment, because I think that's also really important and helps to calibrate expectations well between the buyer and the agent to create a clear path forward. But for us, we're asking for their loyalty, and then we're getting an agency agreement signed in all of our meetings. And we spend a lot of time up front training our agents how to do that successfully, and a lot of energy on how do we continue to upgrade our onboarding process to have them have more confidence in their ability to have those conversations.
Wow. What a gift it is to our community to have you today, kind of leaning in, because what you said, have you ever read a book called The Challenger Sale? Are you
I
familiar
have
with The
not,
Challenger Sale?
but
So
I will write that down.
I truly believe it's one of the best books on sales, possibly the best ever written. And the framework of a challenger sales rep is tailor, so ask questions, teach, control, wrapped with constructive tension. And just, listening to you, and I hope folks wrote this down, she said, I have a systematic approach. Like, she's not afraid. I bet she's actually really excited because this is going to help her and her team gain market share nationwide, because she's, because she has a systematic approach. She has a data-driven approach, and she's learned how to train that at scale. And she's already having people sign a buyer agreement, and she's already talked about her commission and her value, and this is what we're going to do. So really, you've got a system and approach that's made for the future of NAR's, the guidelines going forward. Is that fair to say?
I would say it's absolutely fair to say. And I think for agents, it's natural to feel afraid with change. So I don't want to discount the fear that is out there right now. I just want to reiterate, when you get confident, it's all about the words that you say and the value that you provide, and understanding how to solve problems for your clients in a unique way. When you have that down, they want to work with you and they are willing to pay for your service. And at the end of the day, when you think about the dollars and cents, it's really the same. It's the same, because whether the seller is wherever it's involved in the transaction, it's still a wash from my perspective. If you're in a position of strength and you're valuable to your client, they are going to want you included in the contract. So as an example, when we go source off market properties, people like options. They don't like to feel trapped, right? So we explain the benefit to the client. Hey, if you're struggling to find inventory, this is something we're willing to do. It's extra work for us. It costs extra money, but we find that our clients love it because they can get hyper focused on what they want. And we go out and pound the pavement. We have our inside sales team calling all of the people where their home matches the exact criteria you have. And that gives us additional options for you to find the perfect home. Does that sound like something that would interest you? Well, extra houses, other buyers don't know about, exclusivity, the opportunity to potentially avoid bidding wars and save time and money. That's a hard, absolutely. There's not a buyer out there that says, I'm only open to inventory on the MLS. Those are the sellers that are least likely to be thinking in terms of paying a buyer agent comp. And yet agents all over aren't afraid of that. So it's just taking that value and being able to make it broader from my perspective.
Yeah. And notice how she's already been delivering, value beyond the expectations of a buyer, like that idea that, hey, I'm going to help find homes and opportunities that may not otherwise be available. Like, every agent in America that wants to make commission as a buyer's agent is going to need to start doing services beyond the expectation. Like most buyer's agents, I think that, hey, I help you find the right home. I help you negotiate the right price, and I protect you during the transaction because I have your best interest in mind. And I think those are the three legs of the stool of, let's just say, the commodity-based buyer's agent, but you're going to have to
So
expand that going forward.
I agree. And I spent 4 hours in a locked room with my leadership team yesterday. And this lawsuit caused me to have an epiphany. And it's gonna sound like woo-woo, so be prepared. I think that as I look at how to provide stability for my people, right? What they really need to be is not just a real estate agent, but a community leader and someone who provides solutions. So we actually went through and brainstormed every circumstance that our clients deal with in life. And we looked at how do we have the solution and the answer for them at different phases of life, right? So if you think about it, if we look at first-time home buyers, what are the types of things that first-time home buyers are dealing with? Well, sometimes they're dealing with how to find love, how to find a partner. It's completely outside of real estate, right? But if we want to meet our client where they are and truly provide value for them, it's about being present and having a lasting relationship with that person from the time they're a first-time home buyer until the time that they are dealing with downsizing, they're dealing with death, they're dealing with things at different phases. And so we tried to have predictable things that are happening that we can contribute to on a bigger scale. So we talked about everything from childbirth, right? I have 4 kids. How do you approach figuring out your birthing plan? That might sound crazy, but if you want to have a lasting relationship with your client and you want to be insanely valuable, you're anticipating their needs as a human being, and you're the glue that provides the solution.
I love where this is going. Let me ask you this. We have this thesis in the mortgage coach community that, homeownership is absolutely part of the American dream. And our job is to help people have sustainable homeownership that helps them build wealth with real estate. But the ultimate dream is homeownership with financial freedom. And
Yeah.
so we teach mortgage professionals, and I don't know how much you know about our software, but we've got this mortgage coach total cost analysis. And one of the foundational parts of that is always give people options, always show people the cost of those options over time, 5 years, 7 years, 12 years, periods of time that really matter to them long term, and then show them strategies to accelerate their goals. Like some people, their goal is to become financially debt-free by the time they're 50 or 60. Well, hey, here's options. And if you paid an extra $100 on your mortgage, look at how you could become debt-free by that period of time. Or if you took that money and invested, if you took this loan versus this loan and invested the difference, look at how you could be financially free. Or if you took this loan versus that loan and you bought an investment property, like to be that mortgage professional that helps you make the right mortgage decision that gets the home and helps you achieve financial freedom. And I've had a number of mortgage coaches that are just like, wow, like I'm in the right place at the right time, because that's going to become more important to be that mortgage coach going forward, because pre-qualifying someone for, a house is a commodity, but helping people achieve financial freedom through homeownership and really being able to visualize that and show that over time, like that's valuable. What are your thoughts on that? And how important is it that realtors are working with a trust engine mortgage coach, given that?
So from my perspective, it is absolutely critical. Because I started my career in new home sales, I had to run my own front end and back end ratios. And I would sit with a client and look at, okay, if they're renting, because everybody is I'll just take a step back for a moment. A lot of you real estate agents and lenders out there are meeting clients when they're at this fork in the road. they're a little nervous, right? And they're afraid, like, do I want to rent or do I want to buy? And this person from work and my family member and my grandparents and all these people are telling me there's instability in the market, so don't buy right now, right? We keep it's starting to lift, but that's been the hesitation. People are at that fork. And I think the mistake that people make, Dave, is looking 1 year from now. And most real estate agents don't have the confidence to do the financial projections to look at, well, wait a minute, let's not analyze this fork in a 1 year. Let's analyze this fork in a 10-year and look at the difference of the impact. And so until we met, I didn't know that there was anything as powerful as what you've explained that existed in the mortgage industry. I had no idea. Then when we met, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing that on a pad of paper and having the buyer beside me with their calculator and coaching them through like, hey, we can't just take what you're paying in rent today and multiply that by 12 and multiply it by 10. No way. The rent, if you look at the 10-year average, that's gone up 5% on average per year. And we got to calculate that into our equation, which we all know is complicated. You make that happen in a snap, right? With the way that you approach it. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I think that not only do lenders benefit from that, the agents, the homeowners, it just changes the way people are thinking and helps them to understand the actual opportunity of homeownership.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to go through a real quick sequence. I'm going to share my slide just because I think it will help visualize this. And I'm going to date myself. I started in 86. So that was, fall of 86. And this is how I quoted rates on a yellow sheet of paper. And then this was a big deal. Like when automation came out in the mortgage business and we started providing a fee worksheet. But here's the deal. Like this is a fee worksheet that 90% of loan officers in America use. And it's not that different from what they did in 1989. Now this is a mortgage coach, experience. And this is an example because I think first-time home buyers like, well, we need to help move up buyers and we need listings. So I do think that's a super important way for mortgage coaches to support realtors. We need to help first-time home buyers make informed decisions. And so this is like an example of a first-time home buyer that was kind of on the fence. Should I buy now or should I wait till next year? And they were buying a 3-bedroom house. And the realtor said, hey, you could rent out 2 of those bedrooms at $625. And the mortgage coach was able to say, hey, what if you took that $625 and invested it in 5 years? Here's your net worth renting. If you just pocketed that $625 a month, this is your net worth based on appreciation. But if you took that $625 and you invested it with a financial planner, look at your net worth. And by the way, off the fence, into escrow, making a winning offer. And I just think like the relationship between a mortgage professional and a realtor, on Monday, it was important. On Friday and going forward, like picking the right loan officer is no longer who's got the best rate, who could close loan on time, because those are table stakes. The right mortgage professional is who can do those things, but who can really help me as a realtor bring more value beyond the transaction to the consumer. Like that beyond everything I'm hearing you talk about, it's like, how do I create value beyond the transaction? How do I listen and be more empathetic beyond the transaction? Thoughts on that?
Well, and I think most of the people in this audience that are listening right now are lenders. So a couple of thoughts with how they can be valuable in this moment of fear for their agents. I think agents need reassurance. Like, hey, Jill, you are amazing at what you do. I remember, I just want to give specific advice about how to reassure them. They need to be reminded of transactions where they were valuable and they made a difference. And then they need to see that you as their mortgage partner can help them get access to resources where they can have a systematic process if they don't, because they need one. And so the idea of being valuable in this moment is first helping to calm their fears and remind them They are valuable and they will have a seat at the table, but they might need to make some adjustments to how they're doing business right now. And those adjustments are just simply learning a different way of approaching it, but the value that they bring can be the same. They just need to articulate that value a little better.
Yeah, agreed. By the way, guys, we're almost at halftime. We got 4 minutes to halftime. Let's do a little check-in with the audience. Give us a reaction. Let us know how you're feeling in Zoom. If you're watching this in YouTube, you could give it a like right now and, let us know how much value you're getting from this. So I wrote a few things down. So as mortgage professionals approach realtors in this market, I did a LinkedIn post on Monday and I said, 3 ways that we need to approach the market. First, it's empathetic leadership. So, and Shayla Gifford, our mutual friend, did a great post. I don't know if it was Friday or whatever, but I actually put Shayla's, I thought it was just a great example of empathetic leadership of how she showed up on social media. So if it's in our Facebook group, it's on LinkedIn. I actually put a link to Shayla's empathetic leadership in comments. So guys, go ahead and check that out. But, as you said, be an empathetic leader. And then I also said, number 2, we need to be default aggressive. I'm a big fan of Jocko Willink. He's got a, book called Extreme Ownership. He talks about being default aggressive. And I think, the mortgage industry needs to get out there and call all your agents, call your prospects. And my number 3 thing was be a coach. Like people need best coaches. They inspire, they encourage, and they bring out the best in their team when it matters most. And I think that's what time it is. Like be a coach. And so everything you're saying completely aligns around that. Anything else you would add to that so that people listening to this, like loan officers, do
I
this?
see a couple of questions. And I think that this is important because ultimately for them to be the coach, I think the very first step of being the coach is being on the other end of the phone or taking them to coffee or lunch, because ultimately for the lenders out there, the worst thing that could happen is having your agents run for the hills and get out of the business, right? So you want to hold them in and help them develop confidence. And so Tommy's asking, hey, how does she plan to get paid if the seller refuses to pay the commission, right? So let's talk about that. Well, there's a couple options. You can negotiate it as a credit. If the seller's saying, I'm not paying commission, okay, you can do it as a credit. Historically, we've also been able to work with our lender to get a lender credit with interest rates where they are. That's a little more challenging in this climate. But we can also talk to the buyer and specifically say, hey, buyer, what we want to do, the seller's asks for the price, we want to offer Y, and we want to negotiate in the credit, because at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out how to handle it. For the buyer, I think that the buyer also, when you really factor that into their closing costs, one of the things in working with a designated lender partner that has benefited us over the years, if there is ever a deficit, we have our lender include that in the closing fees so we can show the buyer, here's the big picture. You want to avoid them getting fixated on something specific, and you want to keep them future focused on the big picture. When you do that, it helps them to not get stuck in the weeds where it's not going to benefit them. What were
Guys,
some
write down that word, future
tactics
focused.
Carl
Get
Hill
them.
used to earn the relationship as a designated lender partner? Awesome question. For me, what I look for in a lender partner is beyond, you made the comment earlier, Dave, like just table stakes of like getting the loan to close. And I look for partners that do a few things differently. One of the things I look for is educating the agents I bring on board. I'm onboarding somewhere between 12 and 17 agents every month to my team right now. A lot of those agents, I like new agents because they're hungry, they're coachable, and if you find the right people, they will do the work, right? So with that, they need to understand all the language of helping their client get a mortgage. They need to understand what's VA, what's FHA, what's conventional, how do they qualify, all of these things. And so with Carl, I really liked his drive and personality, and I liked that he had experience in the business. And I liked that he was willing to build relationships with intention in my office. So he is in here, he presents at all of my team meetings, he trains all of our new agents, he supports everyone else on our loan team, right? He is he's actively involved. And then the other piece of it for me, I want to make sure, and I'm going to teach a little bit about this at the event that you have coming up in Vegas, how we integrate the lender into our initial client meeting and it impacts a conversion. So I'll give you a very specific statistic. Of the buy-side business that is financed, 67.6% of that business is converted to a designated partner. Okay. That's really high. Like most real estate agents aren't doing that. So you might be asking, well, how does that work? Well, we have a process. Remember, everything comes back to having a process. So at the point in our buyer presentation, which if you remember, we have a 3-step process, it's part 2, we go through all of the expectations. And in that conversation, we get on the phone with our lender and there's 4 steps, 4 pieces of information that we want the lender to cover in under 5 minutes. So it's very specific. The agent is responsible for giving the lender all of the details, the client's name, their annual income, their debt situation, their savings situation, extremely quickly in a matter-of-fact way. And we coach our agents that they need to collect all of that information. We have a profile sheet that they fill out that's very specific, okay? When they get on the phone with the lender provides 4 pieces of data, okay? So if you guys are out there and you're servicing real estate agents, this is important. The first thing that we want is the max qualification. Then we want, based on the max qualification, what is the monthly price range? Okay. Then we want, based on what the client said was their comfort zone, what is the price range that aligns with the comfort zone? So I have it set up that way because new agents won't have those details. And then we have a step 3 of our process that I didn't talk about yet, which is a data-driven process where we focus on the sold comparables in the MLS before we ever look at active. And what we're doing there is taking the facts and the data and calibrating the buyer's expectations based on their comfort zone, their qualification zone, and what they want to make sure that what they want exists. We coach them until there's 3 properties that have sold in the last 90 days. Okay. So going back to the question about what Carl did to earn our business, when I explained how the process works and what I'm looking for in a partner, he was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I am eager to support the team in that way. Yeah.
So I want to pause real quick. One, I want to make sure for anyone that watched this on YouTube, which will be our biggest audience, when she answered that question about Carl, her loan officer, and why she picked him, Brendan Bracken posted a question saying, what were specific tactics Carl at Guild used to earn the relationship as your designated lender partner? So a lot of what she was saying came from that. So I want to just level set that for folks. Also want to remind folks, I'm going to be interviewing top producing loan officers, how they're going to win in this new shifted market. Yesterday, I interviewed Sean Herrero, and it was how Sean is turning the NAR settlement into an opportunity. It's a 22-minute conversation, and he's already, as a mortgage coach, and he's showing, hey, initial offer price, finance commission, finance all closing costs. You know, he's like anticipating problems. And by the way, he's not selling loan programs. He's not selling interest rates. He's selling solutions to problems. You know, we talk it a lot about in this community. Don't sell your programs. Don't sell your product. Sell the solutions you bring to the marketplace. And if you are a master at that, like, the market is full of problems. Also want to remind folks, go back and listen to where she talked about, oh, show the maximum purchase price, show the target purchase price. You know, we're going to move into, when rates start coming down, we're going to move into appraisal gap issues. Like, That's a problem we're already starting to have in markets where, certain price ranges are getting lots of offers and we're worried about, is the appraisal going to come in? Guys, that's the all-in-one total cost analysis. You as a mortgage coach are positioned to do that. Also, I do want to make note, she said that she is going to be talking about this at the Modern Mortgage Summit next week. It's not too late. Win by Noon is, promoting this Modern Mortgage Summit. It's only $100 to see it virtually. It says, change your realtor's business and create lasting loyalty. Are there any edits to that, by the way? Is that still like the headline?
No, that's
for what you're gonna
exactly
talk?
what it is. I mean, I might want to put something about the settlement in there because everybody's so focused on it right now, but that is the essence of what I want, the gift I want to give to the lenders that are trying to figure out, how do I earn more of the real estate agent that I see? Maybe I'm getting 1 or 2 deals, but they haven't figured out how to direct more of that business to me. And a lot of your realtor partners, for the lenders out there, they want that because they trust you, but they don't know how to do it. And so what I'm going to teach is how I train my agents to consistently refer, which, imagine if you guys could get 70% of the business that your realtor had or has, how would that change your business?
So check that out, guys. There's, unlimited virtual tickets still available. I think there's about 15 or 20 live tickets. If you want to meet Carrie in person and all the speakers at this group, sign up for the live ticket. So check that out. So by the way, guys, thanks for asking questions. If we don't get to all the answers, I promise you, I'm going to be interviewing more realtors. I'm going to be interviewing more mortgage coaches. Stay tuned in our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to it if you aren't already. Do you see a question here you want to tackle?
Yeah, I have a couple answers here. So Carol, it's called the Challenger Sale.
Yeah, the Challenger
And
Sale is the book.
yeah, I'm gonna check that out too. So we'll talk about it.
Well, and
Now,
we'll put a link down below. If you're watching it, there'll be a link.
okay, cool. So then the other question I saw is, what is 3 of the 4? And the third, we as the agent are responsible for providing to you as the lender. And that's the purchaser's comfort zone with price. So I teach my agents, instead of asking them, so what price range are you looking in? That is not how the consumer thinks about it. They think about it in terms of their monthly budget. And that is true whether it's a first-time buyer or someone buying their 5th house. They just don't think of it in a macro way. They think of it in a monthly way. So we teach our agents, ask what their monthly comfort zone is and how they reached that conclusion. And then when you're on the phone with the lender, you provide that, and the lender tells you, okay, at 4,000, here's the equivalent sales price. So you can utilize that in how you're approaching the data. Yep. Let's see. The book. Initial contact. Doug, thank you for asking that. So actually, I was looking for an introduction to somebody who is a badass lender, and I was introduced to him.
Love that. So by the way, guys, build a brand as a badass lender. A badass lender is obviously hardworking. A badass lender has, great communication skills. A badass lender is data driven. A badass lender gives people options, not fee worksheets. And by the way, a badass lender is future casting. You're going beyond the transaction. And then most importantly, a badass lender's, their goal is not just to get someone's social security number. Their goal is not to help someone close a loan. Their goal is to deliver a 5-star experience, to completely wow that consumer, and then to help that consumer for the next 20 years achieve financial freedom for real estate. And that is the goal of a badass lender. So guys, be a badass lender and you will gain market share in this. So I want to pivot a little bit because I also wrote in my LinkedIn post, I haven't interviewed people. I don't know everything yet, but I know that whenever there's chaos and change, there's opportunity. So I'm like wired that way.
Yep.
I know that you need to be an advisor and a coach going forward. And then another thesis I had, and I just had one of three, and I'm learning, is that your database should have always been your number one priority as a mortgage and real estate professional. But as of Friday, like your database, the stock went up, like both for a realtor and as a mortgage professional. And some of the leadership I'm giving to loan officers, because by the way, here at Trust Engine, we predict who's most likely to move up, move down, or, we're not like waiting for trigger alerts. To us, that's like the person's already in the market and it's a red ocean. Everybody's on that person. Like predict, speed to need. Like getting there first isn't enough. Like be the first one to address the needs of the consumer. And so one of the things we've been teaching and talking about is you need to have such a valuable database practice with how you speed to need, get to the needs of the consumer, that literally realtors want to work with you because they see you, like every referral they give you that's in your database, it's more referrals and it's more sales for them. So your database practices need to become incredible. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so what I went back to is that 4-hour meeting I had yesterday. So I think when you're saying get the lead before the lead is a lead, part of it is what are the life events that causes someone to become a lead, right? So I'll give you like a hyper specific example that if I were a lender, I would try and provide opportunities that you set up where the real estate agents that are giving you business can win. So one of the things that I was thinking about is, okay, well, when they get married, that is an opportunity in their life where you tend to see that they're buying a house together, or at least they're thinking about that. So partner with a ballroom dancing facility where you can do, instead of trying to bring them to you, partner with your agent, have conversations with those businesses and say, hey, as a benefit to the people who come and ballroom dance here, we would love to do a seminar for them right here, and we'll provide drinks and food and we'll make it fun, right? So that's one example. Another example is, how do you know if you should get divorced? Right? Some of them need coaching on whether it's going to work and they're going to be able to resolve challenges in their marriage, and at times it won't, but they're going and looking for that advice. So provide an outlet. Maybe with that one, it's confidential and you want to do it as a webinar where you interview professionals about how to solve problems in their marriage. Actually, the book, The 5 Languages of Love. Have you ever read that book?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, although my favorite all-time book is The 4 Agreements.
Oh,
Have you
yes.
but by the way, read both those books if you want to raise your emotional IQ. And, 5 love languages. I mean, it applies to love and it applies to just being a great human being who gets along with other people.
Yeah. And if you imagine this for a moment, if you catch, like if your CRM is everything and you catch someone at a point where they're questioning their marriage and you help heal that, do you think you're more or less valuable to that human being in their life? Like, I get really emotional actually about this kind of stuff. Like, you become someone who is there for them at a moment that they really needed support, or they have a new baby and they can't figure out how to help the baby sleep. And you have a recommendation for a book and you interview a mom who recently went through that. So I think what we need to do as industry professionals is dig deeper into the life events that cause people to need us, but to be there for them before they ever think about buying or selling a home, to personally impact the success that they're having in life.
Yeah, I love this. Again, although I will confess to you, as an operator, when I was in the street and a top mortgage professional, I'm all about how to help people build wealth with real estate. Very data driven, in terms of the emotional support. Like we would have been a good partner. Like I will drive the numbers. I will drive the wealth with real estate.
About this stuff.
You take care of the marriage counseling.
Yeah.
But I want to show a couple more screens. Keep the questions coming, everyone, because whether
Kathy,
we
I
get
love
to them,
that.
whether we
Yeah.
get to them today, I want everybody to write this down. Like write down speed to need. You need to work with your realtors. You need to become a master at speed to need. If this is what your database looks like as a realtor or a mortgage professional, you're not data driven, first of all. When Sales Boomerang, which Trust Engine owns, 4 years ago, they started doing these trigger alerts, but guys, when someone's running a credit report, that means they're cheating on you. And when you call them, you're going to be one of 20 people calling them. Now, again, you want to have those, but what I want to teach the industry, and if you want to really crush it with realtors, you've got to identify the sweet spot. Like before the consumer's in the market, by the way, should you be doing annual reviews? Yes. In fact, Sean Herrero, and I'm putting a link to his video down below, he's doing quarterly reviews, but anticipate the need and have a data platform like Trust Engine that is predicting, is someone ready to move up, ready to move down, first time home buyer, and make sure, like, guys, if you're delivering a fee worksheet going forward in the mortgage industry, you're not a coach. You've got to deliver options. I also put a link to this interview with Gracie Morrow. It's a couple years old, but it's called the All-in-One Pre-Approval. And as I was hearing you talk, this was for a renter, like column A, renting. Column 1, she put in what they applied for. Like, this is what they applied for. Column 2, she put their maximum purchase price. Now, she's in Austin, Texas. At the time I interviewed her, there was a lot of offers going well in excess of the listing price. So there was a lot of fear that there was going to be an appraisal gap. So she would kind of anticipate the need, speed to need, like don't wait for it to come up, show how you're going to address the appraisal gap. And then she also knew there were a lot of people that like, oh, maybe I should wait. Like, maybe I should wait 6 months. And she's like, okay, well, if you wait 6 months, what do you think is going to happen with values? Oh, you notice this at 600? You think they're going to go up? And again, she's giving options and strategies. So, okay, so this has been really high level. I think we've given a lot of emotional support. I think we've given a lot of tactical support. We got 10 minutes left. I know you came into this with, things you wanted to share, and then we've answered a lot of questions. I want to make sure, is there anything else you want to make sure gets out in this call before we do more questions?
Man, there's a lot of, I love the participation from this group. You guys are active action takers who want to learn. So Brendan asked if I do HomeBot. I have a lot going on. I have 159,000 opportunities in my CRM. So I do use HomeBot. I use something that is similar to HomeBot, but different, called Fellow. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I also use Ylopo. So it does specific homes that match the criteria of people that are browsing around on multiple sites, and then it retargets them with those specific houses so that they can get re-engaged with our CRM. I do something inside of my CRM, which I would recommend that all of you consider. And we call them money tags, but it's really a specific avatars so that we can provide. I use Follow Up Boss. Great question, Jared. And then I use Follow Up Boss linked with MailChimp, because we do very, very specific emails. So I'll explain our strategy there, and all of you could utilize this within your CRM. We separate our potential clients and past clients into buckets based on the zip codes that they're searching in and the zip codes that they live in. Okay. We have content that is specifically focused on what we call hotspots. So let's imagine that we bucket areas like Arlington County. There's multiple zip codes in Arlington County, but we have 5 days a week content that goes out to the specific zip codes. So it's relevant to our clients and it meets them where they are. We might do a spotlight on, I just went to a new play gym with my kids, right? We might do a spotlight on that. And then we might talk about something specific in the neighborhood that we think would be interesting to people. And then we have the money tags, and those are specific avatars. So one of the money tags is a first-time home buyer. One is a move up, one is a downsizer, another is an investor. Okay. So then we will take and we separate it. The geographic information is sent at 10 a.m. and at 2 p.m. we send the information that's specific to the avatar. So we may be doing an interview that's related to that. So when we start seeing people engage, a lot of times they're engaging with the PSs. Okay. The PS is interested in finding out the value of your home. But because we've provided relevant information that's useful in their everyday life before they actually anticipate that they're going to need to buy or sell a home, we're more valuable. So I think for some of you watching this, you think, well, Keri, some of the agents I work with, they don't have a huge team. Well, guess what? I had a college intern that was producing those 10 blog articles and the 10 emails in about 15 hours per week by using ChatGPT and then optimizing it in her own voice and adding some really cool pictures. So I think you can meet clients where they are with intention without having it be super stressful. And that's something you as a lender could do that's valuable, because guess what? If you have 15 agent partners and you were to provide information like that would be valuable for them to share within their CRM, that would differentiate you. Yeah. Help the right realtor build a team. By the way, if you're watching this and you want that, call me. I coach real estate team leaders to scale. And there's two problems they have. They don't know how to hire the right people, and then they don't know how to train and onboard them. I've got that down like to a science. Okay. And then they don't know how to generate leads, right? And if they don't have leads, they don't have the confidence to hire the people. And so it's a chicken or the egg thing. And they need a coach to give them the confidence to do both at the same time.
So I want to make sure everyone heard, she didn't call, I have a database of 149,000. I think you said I have 159,000 opportunities. Is right? Opportunities. And,
Yes.
and then here's what we know, guys. In 159,000 opportunities, about 1%, and give or take, like here at Trust Engine, sometimes we see 1 in 0.25, the most we've ever seen. Not counting, 2021 in the heat of the market, that percentage went up. But just assume whatever your database is, 1% of those people are thinking about buying, selling, refinancing, and there is data supporting that they're in the market. So there's 1%. And, one of our apps that we're releasing next month here at Trust Engine is an app. It's called the Trust Engine app, where we're going to identify those top 1%. Think of it as like, an app, and you can always see based on the data who's most probable. And literally you can click a button into that app and it will show you all the data on that consumer. You can text, call, or email, and it has a script. It's called the Trust Engine app. So it's an enterprise only app. So you have to be an enterprise partner of our buyer intelligence platform. Go to our website, tell your manager to get a demo, check it out. So Keri, I can't wait to meet you in person next week. Can't wait to see what you're going to do on the Modern Mortgage Summit stage. And then you said that, hey, reach out to me, you'll coach. So if anyone wants to, get on your mailing list, refer one of their realtors to you, what is the best way for people to get value from you beyond this conversation?
So I just typed in my little handle. It's the Keri Shull. So look me up on Instagram and you guys can send me a message. Yeah. One other thing, you just talked about what you've built and that it has the scripts built in. And I was thinking, if I were a lender, what would I do to provide value to a real estate team leader? Because some of you are trying to earn the business. I would encourage you guys to be absolutely deadly on the phone. And then to not just like a lot of lenders will say, oh, I'll help convert the leads. Teach the agents to have a culture of calling on some of these real estate teams, because right now, agents need to be in action. When they're in fear, you need to move them to action. And some of the team leaders are truthfully not strong leaders. And so if you as their lender are, what we really need right now is opportunities. When there's opportunity, then people are in action and they're not in fear. And so the most important thing is to move their agents through this time by having them lean in to produce results for the team leader to drive confidence of the entire team.
Yeah, no, and guys, here's what the app looks like. And remember, this is enterprise only. So individual LOs don't start emailing and texting me. You have to be a borrower intelligence client, but like literally, focus on your top 1% of your database. You click on that contact, it's got all this data and it's got the scripts. And that's going to bring up kind of a closing thought for me. And then I'm going to throw it to you for closing thoughts. Most of the content I'm creating right now is for producing branch managers, the hardest job in mortgage and the most important job in mortgage. Because one, you should be, most of them are player coaches. They're doing a lot of volume. And two, they're responsible for the success of others. We've got a picture of Shayla here because she's part of this 10X training. I created this web page so that it's got, you want to win with realtors? Actually, we're going to have a picture of this video up here within a week, because I do believe this will be an important piece of content to win with realtors, like learn from a realtor how to win with realtors. You want to win with rate shoppers? I've got, out of all the interviews, and I did hundreds of them last year, what are like the 3 best that will help you win with rate shoppers? And then if you scroll down on this, branch managers, training on how to use our software. And if you scroll down a little further, every day of the week, we are doing live coaching and training on how to be a badass mortgage coach. Wednesday and Thursday is specific training on how to use our technology. Tuesday is 10X, where I'm interviewing badass producers in the market. And then every Friday, we're doing a mastermind. So sign up for that. So, Keri, closing thoughts. I'm going to get you out of here on time, but what are your closing thoughts as we wrap up today's call?
You've just anticipated the needs of the industry in such a magnificent way. So I'm really impressed by seeing what you've built and all the different tools you have for lenders and everyone. You should be very grateful for what Dave's done. So I'm just super impressed and grateful to be here and looking forward to meeting you in person next week.
Love it. And if there was one book that you want to tell every lender to read right now, what would that one book be that everyone should get out from Coach Keri?
Okay. I'm reading $100 Million Offers right now. And that book caused my brain to explode. Like, I'm reading it again and I'm in the middle of $100 million leads. And I feel like it keeps making me want to reread $100 Million Offers. So if you haven't read that, I would encourage you to do it and think outside the box about how to utilize. Yes. I
Look
wish
at
I had
this.
work here because
So-
I could hold up mine.
Yeah. So by the way, guys, who told me to read this was Shant Benoshian, the #1 loan officer in America. Him and I both spoke at the Housing Wire event this year. Or no, we spoke at it last year. And we were having dinner. And I'm like, dude, what are you reading? And he was reading, and I got $100 million leads over there. By the way, I will have to confess, I bought the book, but I haven't read it yet. But guess what? I will be reading it now.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'm a really auditory learner. But with this, you need to have the book. And for me, I need to listen because I have the attention span of a fly. But this one, I was so dialed in and so excited about it. It could be life-changing if you're somebody who wants to use marketing to attract business.
Boom. All right. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person. Thank you so much. Little fist bump. Everyone on this, give us a little reaction. Let us know how this call delivered. Hopefully we wowed you with value. Guys, most of winning right now, it's in the mindset. Where there is chaos, where there is change, where there is fear, there is life-changing opportunity on the other side. Show up for your realtors with extreme empathy. Different people are in different places. Like obviously Carrie's in a great spot where she's like, let's step on throats and gain market share. She probably doesn't use words like that, but I do. But yeah, but show up with empathy and then sell your solutions in the market. Take care, everybody. It's been a great call. Thank you, Keri.
Hi, guys.
Cheers.